Good health is something that we take for granted most of the time, unless something happens that either makes us sick or we get injured or we have challenges with our day-to-day functioning. And that forces us to take a step back and evaluate our lifestyle and the way of doing things. But what if you are born with an impairment or a disability or a disease? I'm Sinta Eberson. I'm the founder of Get Up and Grow. And as you know, I love having conversations with people who face life challenges, adversities, or even overcome traumatic experiences. So with me here today is Dr Elna Dürr. She's a specialist wellness counselor with a very interesting background. Elna, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me, and welcome.
Hello, Santa. Thank you for having me and for the opportunity to share my story.
Would you just jump right in and tell us, I know that you were born with a visual impairment. So tell us your story, how you came into this world.
So I was born with a visual impairment. It is called retinitis pigmentosa. It is a genetic condition that affects your retina, and so they can do a lot with eye conditions these days. They can do like cornea transplants and lens transplants, but they cannot transplant a retina yet. So I don't have any peripheral vision. I only have central vision. So if I look at you, I can see you, but only your face. I can't see anything around you, anything on top, anything at the bottom. I can only see your face. So it's like looking through a toilet.
Sorry.
Yeah, there's nothing. It's like looking through a toilet roll. Like there's only the little part in the middle and nothing on the sides. And the part that I can see in the middle is also not 100%. So I still have to focus on something before I can really see it. I can see, and I can see colors, but I can't see a lot of details. Or sometimes it takes me a while to focus on something and to see it. For example, if you drive in a car and there's maybe a goat at the side of the road and someone wants to show me the goat, they first have to show me like where it is and then say, look a bit left, look a bit right. Okay, you are looking in the right direction now, and then maybe I will see it then if I know exactly where to look.
That's very interesting. I see that you are wearing glasses. How does the glasses help you with this?
So the glasses only helps to make things a little bit clearer, and it helps to relax my eyes. So I depend a lot on what I can see like through the day. So if I use my eyes the whole day, my eyes get tired and then it might like jump around. So the glasses helps just to relax the eye, and it also makes things a little bit clearer. If I want to read, for example, then the letters is a bit more clear and darker, because I can read normal writing, but I only did it until grade 2, and then I started to use Braille. So yeah, I can still read normal writing, but I usually make use of screen reader software that reads everything on the computer and on the phone to me, or sometimes I will use Braille. Yeah, it's just easier and it makes things just a little bit faster.
So many questions arise, but let's start with your early childhood. What is it like? How does one get around in the world, through the world as a young child, a toddler, starting school with central vision only?
Yeah, so I think because I'm born with it, I never knew anything else. So this was the only thing I knew. This was my reality, and I didn't know how it would be to be able to see like 100%. So I think you just adapt from. I think it's harder for someone who gets blind or who develops an eye condition later in life than it is for someone who is born with it. Because since I can remember, I just had it and I had to adapt accordingly.
That makes sense. Do you know the story of when your parents discovered this and how they became aware of it?
So we are 4 siblings. I'm the second child. I have an older sister who is 2 years older than me, and she also has the same eye condition. So out of the 4 siblings, 3 of us have the same eye condition. So I think when my sister was around 18 months or probably younger, I'm not sure, but I think it was around 18 months, my mom realized that she cannot see everything that my mom is showing her. And then they took her to an
optometrist or ophthalmologist.
Optometrist, yes. And yeah, they did eye tests and they realized that something is wrong with her eyes and she got glasses. I don't think they were sure at the time what the specific condition were, but they know there was something wrong with her eyes. And when she was 2 years old, then I was born. So my mom looked out for it since I was very young. So I think when I was 6 months, my mom realized that I also struggled to see. And I think I got my first glasses at 1 year old. And yeah, then they realized there is something wrong, and they did all the tests and they discovered that it is a genetic eye condition. And then 3.5 years later, my brother was born and he was fine. He's got like brilliant vision. And yeah, and then it was only the 3 of us, and 7 years after him, my mom got another child, and it was also a boy. And then she thought, okay, because it's a boy, maybe you won't have the eye condition, maybe it's only the girls. But then he also had it.
So you mentioned that it's a genetic condition. What are your parents' eyesight like?
So no one else in the family have it. Not my parents, not anyone else. So they think it is just genes from my mom and from my dad that didn't match well. Yeah, they don't really know where it came from.
Fascinating.
It's just a combination of the genes that didn't work. And we were the unlucky ones, and my other brother were the lucky ones. So they don't know why he didn't get it and we got it. It's still a mystery.
Sure. So that must be quite interesting to grow up in a family where 3 of the children have the same visual impairment, but then also probably makes it easier for you to relate to each other and understand, because there are 3 of you who view the world.
So because my sister were already there, I think I just did what she did. And so we are living in Malmesbury, and when my sister went to school or started school, she had to go away to a special school in Worcester, Pioneer School, for visually impaired children. And I also had to go there 2 years after her, but it was easy for me to go. I can't remember that I didn't want to go or that I felt bad at the time, because I thought she's there, so it made it easier for me to go. Because she already went through it and she knows everyone there, and at least I know at the time that she's there, so it was easier for me to go.
Yeah, fortunately for you, she had broken the ground there.
Yeah, and it
being the
still
first
wasn't
person.
easy to go so far from home, and you can only come home weekends. At the time, my parents thought of moving there, but it didn't work out like that. But yeah, I think, yeah, because she was already there, made it easier for me.
And what is life like in a school? I imagine that extracurricular activities, sports and things are a different kettle of fish for visually impaired children.
Yeah, so I tried to do everything that was available to do, like sport, athletics. So there's not many sport options, but we had athletics and swimming and another sport called goalball. It's a sport specifically for visually impaired people. And I think there was netball at the time, but I didn't do that because the people in the school had different eye conditions. Like some could see better, there were others that are totally blind. Yeah, but I did the athletics and then more culture, like choir and music. Yeah, that was more my thing, and the athletics. But yeah, school wasn't bad for me because I thought that is the best place for me to be in. I maybe have more opportunities if I'm there. I could do like mathematics and science and all the subjects that I wanted to do. But if I had to go back to school now, I would probably say that I want to be in a mainstream school. I think that would be a better option looking back at it now. But at the time, it was okay for me. It was still not easy because weekends I came home and I went to Sunday school with the people here in Malmesbury, with the children that are in a mainstream school. And I sometimes wish that I could do things that they can do, like run around and play and things like that. But I also think that it is easier for girls because we tend to sit more still and play with dolls, while boys want to run around and play rugby and do all of that kinds of things. So I think it's easier for a girl to have a visual impairment than for a boy. I can't speak for other people, but that is just how I think about it.
I had a life-changing experience when I was in high school. I must have been about 15 or 16. And I played netball, and we went to play a netball tournament against children of a school with visual impairments. And it was an eye-opening experience. There was a little bell inside the ball, which I think helped them to hear where the ball was going. They could see. There was nobody that was blind, but their vision was impaired. So we bumped into each other a lot, and laughed and had a lot of fun. But it was quite an interesting experience. And I've always been so grateful for our school arranging that netball game, because it opened up our eyes, and it literally opened up a whole new world to all of us who had no idea. You know, when you're that young, you have no idea that these kind of things exist unless it's relevant in your own personal life. And I'll never forget that. To this day, I remember it fondly. It was quite an interesting experience, and making friends with the other girls who could not see well and were wearing thick glasses, and some, you know, could only use one eye. They were all different, like you said. They all have different levels of impairment also, but it was an enriching experience, very definitely.
Yeah, I think it's good if they do like sport events and other events. Like I was in the choir, so we compete a lot against other choirs. But just for both for the child with the disability and for the child without the disability, just to raise more awareness and to, for children with disabilities, just to broaden their world and to show them that there is another world outside the school, and there are things that you can do in life. You don't just have to think that you cannot do anything because you have this disability. There's a lot that you can do, and to raise awareness, to let other children know about different disabilities that you get, and to help them to realize that everyone is the same. Just because you have this disability doesn't mean that you cannot do normal things that other children are doing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's inspiring all the way around. And talking about being able to do so many things, I think you are a walking example of that, because you are the proud owner of the title of doctor. So please tell us a bit more about that. Where did you go after school, beyond school, in terms of studying and all the things that you wanted to achieve?
Yeah, so when I was in high school, then you always do that career tests, and to see what you can do after school. And I always knew that I want to do something where I can help people, but I didn't know what. And when I did that tests, the things that were on top were things in the medical field, like a physiotherapist or a dietitian or a doctor, like a medical doctor. And psychology, I didn't know at the time really what psychology was, because I've never, we had psychologists at school, but I never went to see one. And then I had the subject in high school, physiology. And when we learned about the human brain, I always told my mom, I wish I could be a doctor one day, but I thought more in terms of a medical doctor. And I knew that that isn't a realistic dream to have, because I cannot become one. I won't be able to do the work. And then, I just went through all the options, and in the end, I decided to go and study psychology. That sounded like the best option. So I went to Stellenbosch University because I wanted to go there, and my sister was also there, and I just want to go there as well. So I studied a BA degree with psychology, and then after that I did my honors in psychology. And at the time I thought, okay, maybe I want to become a clinical psychologist and or a counselor. So I did not made it into the clinical master's program, because that is a very tough selection process. So I went to study, did my master's in research psychology, because a lot of our lecturers also told us that it is better to go into research than into the counseling or clinical field. They say there's more opportunities and all of that. So then I followed the research path, and after the master's, I thought, I like the research, but I still want to help people, because at that time, I've talked a lot to people about what do I want to do with the rest of my life, or also about the meaning of life, like why am I born with this visual impairment? What is the meaning? A meaning for it. And then one day, I told someone that I will probably never know what the real meaning is for my disability, but what I do know is that I just want to help people, and if I can only make a difference, like in one person's life, I think I would know that that is my purpose. I would have reached my goal or what I want to achieve with my life. And so that day I realized that I still want to become a counselor, not a clinical psychologist, but a counselor. But so then after my research master's, I got the opportunity to do a doctoral degree, a PhD, and I was actually looking for work in research. And while I was looking for work, the PhD crossed my path. So then I thought, okay, maybe it's a good idea, because at the time I didn't know what I want to do my PhD in. So I thought, okay, maybe I will do it like in 10 years' time or later. And then it just crossed my paths. And so I did that. And then after that, I thought to myself, well, now I am a doctor and I always wanted to be a doctor. I thought more in terms of a medical one, but maybe I actually just wanted the title. And so I got the title, and then, it was the year that I completed my PhD. I was still searching for a place to become a counselor, to see what I can do so that I can become a counselor. And then I saw, but I didn't know about the specialist wellness counselors. So then one day I was sitting and Google again, like, what can I still study to be able to do counseling? Because I have all these psychology degrees now, but I still cannot register as a counselor. And then I found a course at Vita Nova. They do counseling courses, and then after that the course also include practicals and supervision so that you can register as a counselor. So I did that in 2021, and since then I'm working as a counselor, and I really enjoy that, because for the first time now I can help people and I can make a difference in their lives, and I can inspire them and give them hope. And that is what I have always wanted to do.
And well done to you. Congratulations, mission accomplished, hey?
Yes.
That is quite a number of years of studying that you've got behind you.
I think it was like 10. Yeah.
Sure. And I'm curious to know if your visual impairment makes it harder for you to study than most people.
Yeah, university wasn't easy, but you get a lot of support, especially at Stellenbosch. There was a lot of support. So there was a department specifically for people with visual impairments that help you and support you. So they would scan your textbooks for you so that you can read it on the computer with the computer software screen reader program. And there was a place, like a computer room with computers only for people with visual impairments. Like, all the computers had the software on so that you can read everything on there. And there was also a printer that you can print your textbooks in Braille. So sometimes I would print my textbooks or things that I have to study, and other times I will just do it on the computer, like with the software. It was also difficult in classes, because classes are big, like 300 students, especially in first year and second year. So that was difficult. I always made sure that I was at the class like 5 or 10 minutes before the time, so that I would be able to get a seat in front, or just somewhere where I can see, okay, there's a space open for me to sit. Because if I got to class like a minute before the class starts, or when everybody's running and late, then I usually struggled to find a seat, and then I was always scared that I'm going to go and sit on someone's lap. So I always made sure to go, to be there in time if it was possible. And then most of the times I record the classes. So I ask the lecturer permission if I can record it, because it was difficult to make notes to always carry your computer around, and then you have to find a place to plug it in. So it was just easier to record the class, and then afterwards you can listen to it again and make notes at home. It takes more time.
Yes, I can imagine.
Everything takes longer to do, assignments, to study. Because sometimes you can't just do an assignment and look at your textbook like beside you and type something. You have to jump around on your computer like between different documents, and it just takes longer to find things and to do research, and everything just takes, it's more time consuming, but in the end it is possible to do it.
Well, you're a prime example of that. And I imagine the technology must have changed over the years tremendously in terms of support for people with visual impairments.
It did. A few years ago, like 3 years ago, only after university, I got it's a small little machine where you can take notes on. So it looks like a braille machine, but it is very small. So you type on it like a braille machine. It only have like the six buttons where you type on, and then it also have a little display where you can read what you are typing in braille, and then you can put a flash drive in the computer or just connect it in the machine and connect the machine to your computer, and then everything you typed on braille on the machine are now in normal writing on the computer. Or you can take a document from the computer and put it in the machine, and then you can read it in braille. So it just translates the text to braille and the braille back to text. And it's a small device to carry with you to places or to classes to make notes. It's not a big thing like a computer that you have to carry around. And there are more advanced ones now, like tablets with screens that you can read braille on as well. So the technology really developed over the years.
It's absolutely fascinating what people can create. I love it.
Yes.
So,
and I still have sorry.
No, please go ahead.
No, I still have more plans to study, but I will see how that works out. So my other passion that I have is music, and since like 2010 or 2012, I think, the first time I heard about music therapy, I wanted to do that, but I didn't know how or where I can do it, and then I discovered one day that you can only do it at University of Pretoria. And at the time, I didn't want to go there because it's far from home, and I didn't know anyone there. So then I went into the research field. But that dream of music therapy always stayed in my head. And when people ask me, are you done with studying, or are you going to do something else still, then it always came back to the music therapy. If I want to do something else, or if I'm going to, then it would be that. So I did apply for it for next year, so I will see what happens. It is also a master's degree, and then you can afterwards register with the HPCSA as a music therapist. So just to be able to combine counseling and music, I think that would be the best.
Definitely, definitely. Music therapy is very, very valuable. I don't do it myself, but I know a little about it. Really very valuable tool to add to your toolbox. But it seems to me that you
Yes.
love studying.
Not always, but when I'm done, I like it. But
Mm.
while I'm busy with it, I thought, why did I do this now?
Yeah.
And some days I think to myself, why do I want to study?
Mm.
Why would I want to do that? Because it takes a lot of time, and you don't get an income when you are doing it. But yeah, I think you are never too old to learn. You can always learn something new, and it's just something that you have that no one can take away from you. So
Mm.
if
Mm.
you have the opportunity, why not?
I agree with you. I'm a lifelong learner myself also, and I just love learning new things and growing and adding to my toolbox, like I said
Yeah,
earlier. So
because you
Elna,
get so stuck if you do the same thing
mm,
like every day. And yeah, I just like to learn new things that I can use to be able to do what I'm doing just better.
and also being a specialist wellness counselor, the more things, more services you can offer your clients, the better.
Yeah, that's true.
So Elna, do you as when you work as a counselor, when you meet new clients, do you tell them upfront about your visual impairment? Is it necessary? How do you handle that?
Yeah, that is always I don't always know how to what is the right way. So sometimes I do tell it in the beginning. I just do as I feel. Like with I do advertise it, like it is on my website, and my social media platforms does mention it. So when I book a client, I sometimes assume they did read my things when they contact me. So some of them know from the start, others don't know. I sometimes tell them, especially with children. If it's younger children, I will tell them because they don't always, maybe they show you things or they talk to you and they wonder why you aren't looking at what they are showing you. Or, yeah, so it makes it easier to tell people. Sometimes I don't tell them, sometimes only in the second or third session. But yeah, it does make it easier to tell them. So if if I feel in the moment comfortable to do it, then I do it. It's just sometimes difficult for me because I don't want to make the sessions about me. So when I tell them, it feels to me sometimes that I'm talking too much about myself. So yeah, then I don't, I struggle sometimes to tell them because I don't want to make it about me, because then they have a lot of questions and that is not why they are there. But
Yes.
yeah, it does make it easier if they know, so I try to include that somewhere.
Understandably so. And if I may get really practical, can I ask you on a really practical level, how does your interaction with a person play out when you're looking at somebody in terms of how do you move yourself around? Do you move your head to be able to see? Do you have physical movements that are different from people who have peripheral vision? Can one notice when interacting with you?
I think sometimes it's difficult so I think most of the times people know when they meet you, because if you look at them, maybe I don't look them directly in the eyes. So I try to, most of the times I try to, but then another thing that happens is I don't always know. So I look at their face, at their eyes, and I don't always know if I meet them for the first time. Are they stretching out their hand? Do they want to shake my hand, or
Yes.
maybe they have a lot of things in their hand, so should I stretch out my hand? But maybe they have a lot of things in their hand, so they would wonder, why am I giving my hand? Because they can't take my hand now, because they are carrying something. So I think that is one thing. That is why it is easier if people know before the time. And another thing is also, I think I walk a bit slower. The other day, a child, when I told him that I can't see well, then he said to me, "Oh, that is why you are walking slower." And I didn't really realize it, but even if you know your surroundings and you know your place where you are working, I think it is still, especially if there's other people around you, then you will subconsciously maybe move slower just to avoid maybe bumping into something.
Yes.
Yeah, because if there's no one around, then you are more relaxed and you usually don't walk into anything. But as soon as there are people around you, then you would bump into everything, and then all the weird things happen. So I think you just have to be comfortable and just tell people before the time. I think that is the best, so that they won't think that you are weird or anything.
Well, I'm so grateful that you are comfortable enough to talk to me and have this interview so that we can share with the rest of the world out there your situation and your own experience of it. Thank you very much for doing this. Very grateful. So Elna, we've spent a lot of time on your visual impairment, but you actually have a chronic kidney disease as well that you're living with. Can you tell us a bit about that?
So in 2018, we discover the kidney disease. It's also not a long story. My brother, the youngest one that also have the eye condition, he went to the doctor for something totally different, like for his skin. And so the doctor said he just want to do some blood tests to see if he can drink the medication for his skin. So he did blood tests like liver and some other blood tests. And then he said, well, you shouldn't worry about your skin at the moment because there's something really wrong with your kidneys. Then he had like stage 4 kidney disease. And we were in shock. We didn't know, what is this now and where did it come from? And so they admit him to the hospital. He wasn't sick or anything. They just discover it with the blood tests. And so they admit him to the hospital and they did all the tests that it could have been, like the reason for the kidney disease, where it came from. And after they did all the tests, they still couldn't find the cause of the kidney disease. So they said, well, they have rolled out all the other possible causes, and the only thing maybe that it can be is if it is linked to his eye condition, because there is a syndrome that eye conditions are linked to other problems like hearing disabilities or intellectual disabilities, diabetes, and then also the kidney disease. And I always knew about it because there were people in my school that had eye problems with other medical conditions as well. And I always told my mom, I'm so glad that we don't have any other medical conditions. And we never tested for anything, and no one ever told us to test for anything because we didn't have any other symptoms. So if you don't have symptoms, why would you test for something? So then the doctor said, but okay, that can maybe be the cause, but then me and my sisters should also go for kidney tests, and then we will see. So then a few weeks later, I went for the test, and I had stage 3 kidney disease. And then my sister also went, and her kidneys is affected, but it is still fine. It is like maybe stage 1, maybe not. The doctor wasn't sure if she really have it or not, because he said it's rare that you will only discover it at a later age. Like we are in our 30s now, so yeah, you usually discover that when you are much younger. If it is genetic, you can develop it from diabetes or other medical conditions, but if it's genetic, then you will discover it much younger. So yeah, then mine was also stage 3, so it was a shock, and I was very sad, and yeah, it was very sad for me. I was never angry about it or anything, just sad, because I thought, well, my first thought was, I don't want to die young, and I always thought that, okay, my eye condition is it's not nice to have it, but at least it can't kill me. But now I have this thing that can kill me. And yeah, that wasn't very nice. But yeah, then there's nothing you can do about, or at that time, there wasn't anything you can do to stop the disease from developing faster. You can only follow a diet, and maybe the diet can help to make the progress of the disease a little bit slower. And then also, the only symptom that we had was high blood pressure. And I had that for many years, and no one ever told me that maybe you should check out your kidneys. Yeah, the doctors would always ask me, are you stressed? And then I said, not really, but maybe it is stress, because I don't have another or reason for why my blood pressure is high. But that is one of the first symptoms of kidney disease, is high blood pressure. And the other symptoms only develop much later, because they call it a silent killer, kidney disease, because you don't develop any symptoms until you're in stage 4. For some people it's different, but most of the time you only develop symptoms in stage 4, because I didn't have anything else except for the blood pressure. So then we followed a specific renal diet, me and my brother. That was 2018, 2019, 2020. And then 2021, April, my brother's kidneys were very bad and he had to start dialysis. It was just after Easter in 2021. So he started dialysis, and we started to look for a kidney donor for him, because the doctor said, well, that is, now the only thing you can do is dialysis and a transplant. And if you can't find a donor, then you have to be on dialysis for the rest of your life until you can find a donor. So he was on dialysis for just over a year, and he found a donor, a living donor. It is our neighbor across the street.
Sure.
She donated her kidney to him, so he received his transplant in June 2022. So it's now, it was 2 years now. And then my kidney function was stable the whole time. Like, I had to go for tests every 3 months, but it was stable, and I was just very happy about it. Like, the first 2 years I was sad, and then I came to a place of acceptance. I just accepted and just thought to myself, well, this is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I can just manage it. There's nothing I can do to change it. So why should I be sad and cry every time when I have to do the tests. If there's nothing I can do about it, I can just try and live my life and do everything to stay healthy, and what they recommend, just do that. And so my kidneys was stable until the middle of the year 2021. Then it started to degenerate a bit, and the kidney function went a bit lower, and in 2022 it got worse. So I was then, I think, under 20% kidney function. So when we discovered it, I had 38% kidney function. So then 2022, it started to go down. And then in June 2022, my doctor said, okay, it's not looking good, but it's still fine. I don't have to go on dialysis, but he wants to be prepared. So he wants me to have a fistula. So a fistula is a vein that they create for you in your arm where you can have the dialysis. So if you don't have that, then you have to get dialysis in your neck with a port. If you have to get dialysis on short notice, then they will put in a port in your neck and you get it there. But if you still have time, you can do the fistula in your arm, because the fistula still also needs 3 months to develop and to get stronger. So then he told me I must get that. And since they diagnosed the kidney disease, I always said that I'm happy that it's stable, and I just never want to have a fistula, and I never want to get dialysis. And then I got to that point where my doctor said I must get the fistula now. And the only reason why I didn't want it is because I thought it's not going to look good. It's this big vein on my arm now, and I don't want it. And at that stage, I never had an operation in my life. I was always a healthy person. I don't really get sick. I was never in a hospital. I never got any operations. And then I had to get that, and it wasn't very nice, but still I didn't have a choice. I didn't have to do it, but then maybe I needed dialysis and then I don't have it, and then I have to do it in my neck. So I thought, okay, maybe I don't have a choice, maybe I should just do it. And I did the fistula. That operation actually felt very traumatic to me, because it was the first time I got aesthetics. It is aesthetics.
Anesthetics.
Anesthetics. The first time I got anesthetics, and I didn't feel well. It feels for 2 weeks after the operation. I was still tired, and it felt like I'm on the anesthetics. But then I thought, okay, the fistula isn't so bad. It is in the middle of my arm, there where your arm bends. So I can still let my hair hang over it, or just wear something with a sleeve that covers it. But then in the summer, I wear my arms like open without sleeves, and it's fine. It didn't bother me really. And then my kidney function got a bit worse after that, but I still didn't have to go on dialysis. And we started to spread the word a bit that I might also need a kidney transplant. And then at the end of 2022, there were 4 people that wanted to donate their kidneys to me. And I didn't know any of them. I only knew the one, but also not really personally. It's a friend of my parents. and the other people I didn't know at all.
Wow.
So then we had to start the like the testing process to see if one of them are a match. And then with the first test, all of them were a match. The first
Unbelievable.
blood, yes.
Wow.
And so for the tests after that, you can only do one at a time because the test is expensive and that person have to come on our medical aid, so they can only do one at a time. So then I had to choose one, but I didn't know who to choose because I don't really know any of them. So who do I choose now? If I knew someone, I would have choose the one that I know. So yeah, I was thinking about it and I prayed about it a lot. And the one, like 3 or 4 weeks went by, and then the one day my mom told me, okay, you should choose one now. And then I said, I don't really know who to choose, but I think I want to go with Alison. And I didn't know Alison at the time. She was only a name for me, but her name just sounded right, something about it. And then my mom said, okay, she also thought Alison. And then we asked her if she would be okay if we started with her first to do the rest of the tests. And she said yes. And that same day, or like a month after that, she told us that that day when we asked her if we can start with her, she went to tell her parents that she's going to do this now. And then her dad told her, but Alison, your name were called. And then a month, that was November 2022. So a month after that, we started with the rest of the tests. And that is when I met her for the first time. And she was just such a positive person, like through the whole journey. And then last year, there was the tests. It's a lot of tests that you have to do. So they really look after the donor. And if you want to donate, they make sure that you are healthy, like on all levels. And if there's one thing that they feel is a risk for you, then they wouldn't choose you. They would say, no, you can't do that. And yeah, so all the tests with her were always positive and she's healthy and everything is just going great the whole time. And then last year, June, it was taking really long, the tests. And in June last year, my doctor told me, we think I must start with dialysis because the tests are taking long and he's scared that I'm going to get sick. And then I cannot have the transplant if I'm sick. So he would rather be safe and I have to start dialysis. And I thought that maybe we did the fistula, but it won't be necessary to do dialysis ever. And then, I had to start the dialysis, and that wasn't really, I think that was the worst part of it, of everything that I have done in my life until that, up to then.
Why is that? Is the dialysis an unpleasant experience?
It is unpleasant. It is supposed to be something to lengthen your life and to give you a better life, and it does. It's the dialysis does the work that your kidneys cannot do anymore. So it's like an artificially they do the work of your kidneys. So they put in 2 needles in that vein, that fistula, and it's very thick needles. It's not like a needle where they draw blood in or like a injection. It is very thick. So they put in 2. The one takes the blood out of your body and then takes the blood into the machine, and with the other needle the blood came back from the machine into your body. So the machine clean the blood and take out all the toxins and everything that the kidneys can't do. But it is sore, that needles. And you have to do it for 4 hours.
Sure.
So you have to sit there 4 hours at a day, and you have to do it 3 times a week. So it takes a lot of time. And you have to, it's not only the 4 hours in the day, because you have to, so the closest dialysis center is in Paul from us. So you have to drive there, and now I always have, someone have to take me. I can't drive self, and then that person have to spend time somewhere or come back and then come and fetch me later again. And you can't choose your slots. So the slots that I got was in the evening, like 5 o'clock, from 5 to 9. And it was on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. So a Saturday evening for 4 hours there isn't really nice. But yeah, and afterwards you are really tired. So even if you go some days I went in the afternoon, or the middle session was 12 o'clock from 12 till 4. So there was sometimes that they call me and say I can come the earlier shift. But then also you are tired for the rest of the day after that. And it always feel like your body just recovers, like after 2 days that you didn't go, and then you have to go again.
Sure.
And then just before you start to feel better now, then you have to go again. So you are tired, and sometimes they didn't do it for me so much, but they done it a few times, where they also drain fluid from your body. So the dialysis does 2 things. It cleanses your blood from the toxins, and then it also removes fluid if you are holding back fluid. But I at the time I didn't hold back really fluid. I wasn't swelling yet, so I didn't have to take off many fluid, but they did do it sometimes. And then when they do that, it is like 3 kilos that they took out of your body. So you always have to weigh yourself before the dialysis session and then afterwards. And then you usually weigh less after the dialysis, because they take off like 2 or 3 kilos. And yeah, the 1 or 2 times I almost passed out, like I couldn't make it to the car. You faint, and you also your voice goes away when they take off too much. Sometimes they do it accidentally, or not on purpose, that they took off too much fluid, and then your voice just goes away. You can't speak, and it's just a very tired feeling. I can't explain it. Like I was sitting afterwards at home, and I couldn't understand why I'm so just all of a sudden so tired. I feel like I can just fall over and sleep.
It sounds dreadful.
It's not nice, but it is helpful, and it can lengthen your life.
So yeah, it keeps you alive on the one hand, but it's exhausting and very taxing on your system. Hey.
Yeah, and then it also interferes like with your life. You can't always do your work, and there are an early shift, like 6 o'clock in the morning. I think I did that one maybe 1 or 2 times. So many people are on that shift. That is the most popular one, because then they are done at around 10 o'clock, and then they can still go to work. But you are tired, and some people have to stop working because the dialysis interfered too much with their work. So there are other options as well, like there is an option where you can do it at home. Then you have to do it yourself. So you have to do it there's options, like you have to do it every night, so you sleep with the dialysis machine, or you can do it every 4 hours, like for only 4.5 hours, I think. But you have to be very clean, and everything around you should be like very
Sterilized.
sterilized, because you can get an infection if you do
Yes.
it yourself. So you have to know what you're doing. I was too scared to do that option. So, and then you have to do it every day, because it's not so long periods, and it's not so strong. The ones at the hospital is a stronger type of dialysis, so you only have to do it like every 2 or 3 days.
Wow, Elna, what an experience. So what happened? How long have you been
So
on the dialysis?
what helped with the pain, I just want to add, is like numbing cream. I put that on my vein before the time, so that helped a little bit with the needles. But it depends on some nurses are hurting more than others, so it depends on who was working at the day. But I did the dialysis for 4 months, and then September last year, the Department of Health they let us know that they are happy with the donor, with Alison, and we can do the transplant. So the transplant was scheduled for 14 November last year, and it happened on 14 November last year.
Wow. What an ordeal. And how is your life been after that?
Yeah, so the transplant went really well. Like everything went well, and when before the operation, I thought I didn't feel sick at the time. Like though I had to went for dialysis, and I think I had 8% kidney function, but I still didn't really have symptoms, except for the blood pressure, and sometimes my feet was a bit swollen, and I couldn't sleep anymore. I had insomnia, and that is also an symptom of kidney disease. But other than that, I didn't have any other symptoms. I still had the appetite. I could still eat. I still had energy to do everything that I have to do. But so I didn't feel sick, and I thought to myself, why do I have to get this big operation now, because I don't even feel sick? But then the surgeon told me that I will only feel after the operation, I will feel that I was actually sick, because it is such a slow progressing disease. You don't really realize that you are getting sicker and weaker, because it's happening like slowly, and your body get used to it every day. So it's not that you are healthy the one day and the next day you are sick. It happens like more gradually.
Yes.
So she told me that after the operation, I will feel a difference. And then, the operation went really well. Everything was very successful. The 3rd day after the surgery, my kidney was working 113%.
Wow.
And I didn't even know that a kidney can work so much, and that's not even my kidney. So it was last week, it was 8 months, and I went for my checkup last week, and my kidneys are still working like 100 and something percent, or my one kidney. So the transplant was really successful, and I feel definitely better. I have more energy. I don't have that tired feeling anymore. That I didn't realize that I was tired, but now I I don't feel tired anymore. I have energy to get up in the morning, because the disease is also, it not only affects you physically but also emotionally. Like you don't feel like getting up in the morning and do things, and you don't know where it's all going to end up and what's going to happen, and you feel tired the whole time. And then I was tired, but I used to say, well, it's not necessarily from my kidney disease. Maybe I am just tired, because many people are tired. So I never really thought about it that it is my kidneys. I just thought that maybe I'm just tired. But yeah, I definitely feel good now, and I feel more healthy. I'm still recovering. The recovery takes a long time. My nephrologist said that, well, it can take up to a year before you feel like 100% again, because I also learned this year that thing that the body keeps the score. Like when you go through a traumatic event, it stays in your body, and I've never experienced that before. And 2 months after the transplant, like the first 2 months, I felt really good, except for a little bit of discomfort and pain, but the pain wasn't even so bad. Like the dialysis pain was worse for me than the transplant pain. So it wasn't even that bad. But then 2 months after the transplant in January this year, I started to feel like anxious. I would wake up in the night and biting on my teeth and cleansing my fists or my hands. And I thought to myself, but I'm not anxious. I don't stress about anything. But why do I feel this? Why do I do these things it's in my body, but I don't feel, in my head, I don't feel anxious or stressed or depressed or anything. But I would lie in my bed and then I would realize, but I'm cleansing my hands, but why do I do this? Or I'm biting on my teeth. And then my hair started to fall out. I was shedding a lot of hair. I've never lost so much hair in my life before. And then that was a bit traumatic for me, because I like my hair, and now my hair is starting to fall out a lot. Like every time I touched it, it was just a lot of hair in my hands.
Sure.
And that went on for 4 months, and I used vitamins, and I got special shampoo, but I think 2/3 of my hair has fallen out. And then end of April, it just stopped. The hair shedding stopped. I realized that I don't have that hands that I'm cleansing. I don't bite on my teeth anymore. All of it just stopped. And because in the beginning I thought maybe it's the medication, because I'm now on medication that I have to drink for the rest of my life. So maybe it's side effects of the medication, and the doctor told me it can be, because the medication have a lot of different side effects. But then he told me it can also be from the anesthetics and the trauma of the operation. So I've read a lot about it online. There's a transplant group where people are on that have different transplants. So then I just read through it and read what other people are saying, and then I realized that many people are going through the same things. They are losing hair, they feel stressed, they have different symptoms. And they say you just have to hang in there, because it will get better. And now it is better. Everything just stopped. And I think I think it was just the trauma from the transplant.
Yeah, the medical trauma that your body experienced, because that is
Yes.
quite an invasive operation that you had.
Yeah, because I thought that the transplant wasn't it didn't feel traumatic for me. In my head, I wasn't anxious before the time. I just had peace. Like since last year when I started with the dialysis, the first 1 or 2 times, I was sad. I wasn't happy that I'm there. I didn't want to be there. And then I just received peace. And I just thought that, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. And if the transplant works out, then I will be happy. And if it doesn't work out, then we will just go on and try someone else and keep on looking for another donor. But it will be fine. And then I just had that peace the whole time, and even on the day of the operation and afterwards. And I still have it, like whatever happens. And I think that is just because of all the support that we had, the community, support of friends and family, and everyone that prayed with us. Like, I know everyone is not religious, but for me, if I didn't believe in the power of prayer, then I definitely believe in it after this past year. But all of my life, actually, I did believe in it. And it is my religion, and faith is an important part of my life, because I don't think I would have made it this far if it wasn't for God and everything that He do for us. But after the last year, it just it's just something that was just played a big role in everything.
And what an incredible story. It's so beautiful to hear you say you had peace through all of that, because I can imagine how anxious one can be and full of fear, all the uncertainty around the medical condition and the risks that are involved and everything. It's beautiful to hear you say you had peace. And I also imagine that it's so important to be in a peaceful place and in a peaceful frame of mind before you go into a big operation like that, so that you are regulated and your body can actually bear the huge impact of the operation.
Yes, my doctor, actually, the surgeon that did the transplant, she's an amazing transplant doctor. But she told me afterwards that my operation went a little bit faster than she thought it would, and it was a very easy operation for her to do. The most difficult part of it all was just to find the space for the kidney, to fit the kidney in. But for the rest, she said it went very fast and well and smoothly. And then she told me that it is because I wasn't anxious. Because she said, if you are anxious, then your veins, then they can't find your veins disappear. So it makes everything difficult for them. But when you are not anxious, your veins are open and they can easily find a vein to do what they have to do.
That makes sense.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that is what is happening when you are anxious. But it is also normal to be anxious. I can't imagine that you can't be anxious or stressed before the time, because it is a very big operation.
Yeah,
But
indeed.
I just had that peace.
Elna, what an incredible story. This is such a beautiful get up and grow story. Like I always say, when life knocks you down, you have to get up and grow. And you've just shared with
Yes.
us how many times that you've been knocked down or that you've had to face a setback and deal with it. And your courage and your peace and your perseverance through this is absolutely admirable. I want to just commend you for that. You are
Thank you.
such an inspiration, and it's such a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I always just thought that I know a lot of people with disabilities, but especially visual impairments because I grew up with them. And you can so easily think that you cannot do anything and just thought, well, I have this disability now, I can't do anything. And then you just sat at home the whole time and just like my mom said, just sit on your bed in the dark because you can't do anything. So now you are just staying at home in your room in the dark. And there are people, I think, that do that think they can't do anything. And I can understand that you can feel that way, but because you didn't choose that, you didn't choose your disability. It's not a choice to have it, and you can't choose what happened to you, but I think you always have a choice of how you are going to react to the bad things that happen to you. You can't choose what happened to you, but you can choose how you react to it. Are you just going to sit at home, or are you going to get up and do something and still try and reach your dreams that you have? Because in the end of the day, you have to make your life good for yourself. No one else can do it. You have to make yourself happy and to choose your happiness and joy and everything.
Definitely, definitely. Very well said. Thank you. Can you tell us how Alison is doing, who donated her kidney?
She's also doing well. It was like she didn't know me as well. Our parents knew each other from the town, but we didn't know each other. We only we met a month after she said that she wanted to do it, but it was a total like altruistic decision from her side. She just wanted to make someone else's life better. And the night before the operation, we were sharing a room, and that was the first time we actually talked to each other and shared a bit of our stories with each other. But she's doing well. Her kidney is functioning good, and
What
she's
a beautiful thing
just
to
busy
do.
with her life, and she also have a teenage daughter and work and everything that's taking up a lot of her time this year. So we haven't saw each other too much this year, but we are talking at least every week, if not like every few days. I would send her a message and just hear how everything is going. But she's doing well.
I'm so happy for her. What an incredible thing to do for another person.
I can't imagine that you can do something like that. Take an organ out of your body just to make someone else's life better, and someone that you didn't even know.
Sure.
But now we are like sisters, like we are, she said we are kidney sisters now. So yeah.
That's beautiful. And your brother, is he doing well also?
Yeah, he's also doing well, and his donor as well. She said it's nothing to donate a kidney. Like it was a bit easier for his donor than for mine, but I think it's also your personality. Like his donor was 2 days after the transplant. She went home and she wanted to start working immediately, but
Wow.
she had to wait a little bit. But yeah, she's just like that. My brother were more anxious than I was, and the doctor told me, yeah, because he was anxious, his transplant was a bit more difficult for her than mine was. But he is in nature a more anxious person. And his daughter told him the day before, like, why are you anxious? You are sick at the moment, and tomorrow you get a kidney and you are going to be healthy. And I am healthy now and I'm going to lose an organ. So the chances that I will get sick is more. So why do you feel anxious? Because I'm not anxious, I'm happy, positive.
Yeah.
And that is just, yeah, the type of person that she is.
Resilience. It's an
Yeah.
incredible story of resilience, and I love it. I'm all about resilience and how we can consciously cultivate it in all aspects, in all areas of our lives. This is a beautiful story of resilience. I take my hat off to you, Elna, for keeping going and going through all of these experiences and coming out on the other end healthier, and then still dedicating your life to helping other people. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I know that this is going to inspire many people. I know people personally who have had organ transplants themselves. I've lived with them to experience how it's impacted their lives and how it's changed their lives. And I'm so grateful that to hear yet another story of successful transplants. It's absolutely inspiring. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. And yeah, I just always think, how can you say thank you to someone that did something like this for you? And I haven't found the answer yet, but I think the only thing that you can do for that person is just to live your life like to the fullest, and to do everything that you want to do and to follow your dreams. And I think that would be enough for that person, because you can't pay them with money for their organ that they give you. Like, money wouldn't be enough, but if they see what they did for you are actually making a difference in your life, and you can have a better life, then I think that would be enough for them.
Indeed, indeed. Can I ask you a last question?
Yes.
What is your outlook in life in terms of your future? How do you look at life, knowing how fragile your health can be? How positive are you? How far do you look ahead in your life? How big are your dreams and your plans for the future? I know that you want to go and study some more, and expand how you can help other people. But in general, in your life, what are you dreaming about?
Yeah, I always try to have a positive outlook on life, and I think I do have one. And it's okay to have negative days and to have sad days. I don't really get angry. I'm not like that. I just get sad days. But I'm born like the way I am. That is how I'm born, with this peaceful temperament. I had it since I was a baby. My mom told me that I just was so peaceful when I was born. And I think, sometimes you are just born like this. So I am a positive person, and it's also due to my parents, because they are positive people, and they just treated us like normal people since I can remember. They never treated us differently. They encourage us to do everything we want to do and that we can do. And I think that makes a big difference. If you have that support from your parents and your family. But yeah, I always have hope that things will work out for me for the best. Even if there never came a cure for my eye disease, then that is good. And yeah, I think because I have God in my heart and Jesus, I'm not scared of the future and what's going to happen. Sometimes days I think, what if I'm old and I'm alone and I don't have a job? What am I going to do then? But as soon as I think about it, then I forget about it again, and I try not to worry about the future. I do have plans like to have a successful business in as a counselor or a music therapist, or both of them, combination of the two, but just to have a successful practice and enough clients to be able to make a living. And also I sometimes do a lot of like volunteer work, or just I cannot say no for someone if they ask me to help them, but if they are not able to pay, then I will still help them, because that is just who I am. I can't say no to them. So to be able to still do that, but also make a living, and just to continue to inspire people, and that my life I just want my life and my story to mean something to someone else, to make a difference in people's lives. Sometimes I don't think my story is inspiring because I'm living it every day, and that is part of my life. And then people come and say, well, it inspires them, and it helped them through things in their own life. And then it just makes me feel good, and it makes me happy. And that is just how I want my life to be, and just to be happy, and to show people that there are always hope. Whatever you go through, you can find hope somewhere in that situation that you are in, even if it is just something small, but just to try and always look for that small little thing in your situation that can help you to move forward every day.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Always look for and find the hope. There is always hope in it. What a beautiful story. I feel so grateful for having been able to sit here and talk to you, and I am so much richer for it. Elna, thank you so much for your time and all the wisdom that you've shared with us. And I wish you and your family all of the best.
Thank you for having me, and for the opportunity.